Alright, so Dustwalkers is this top-down action shooter where you play as space marines dropping onto zombie-infested planets to mine a resource called dust. What makes this game interesting is that it tries to mix base building with that frantic horde survival gameplay, and honestly when it works it feels pretty good. So at this point, thank you to Guidestone Studios for sponsoring this video. As always, I am of course allowed to be absolutely transparent about my actual experience. So here's how the game actually plays out. You pick one of your marines from a roster, and each one has randomly generated stats and a class that determines which weapons they're best with. There is Permadeath here, so if your marine dies during a mission, then they are gone for good. This matters more when you get rare and epic recruits because they start with way better stats than the basic ones. Once you drop into a level, the main goal is simple: survive for about 16 minutes while mining dust and dealing with constant zombie attacks. You're building these gem mines that generate currency, and you use that currency to throw up turrets, mortars and walls around your operation. The zombies just keep coming in bigger waves, and every couple minutes a boss shows up to really test your setup. The combat itself has this auto-aim system. That means your gun just shoots at whatever's closest while you focus on movement and using your abilities. Sometimes I definitely would have preferred manual shooting. As you level up during the run, you unlock 4 main ability types: a projectile attack, a shield, an area damage skill, and an ultimate that basically clears the entire screen. The cooldowns here are really short, like a few seconds, which is excellent because it means you're constantly throwing abilities around instead of waiting forever to use them again. The loot drops work similar to games like Diablo. Enemies drop weapons, armor, boots, helmets, all with random stats. You can pause the game anytime to swap gear, and the stats do actually make a noticeable difference. Now here is where things get a bit messier. The game lets you bring up to 3 marines at once, but the controls for managing multiple characters are not great. You control all of them with the same movement keys, and while you can give orders to position them separately, they essentially just come running back. Now when bosses start spamming AoE attacks everywhere, then trying to keep multiple marines alive becomes chaotic and frustrating. The weird part is the game is totally beatable with just 1 marine, so bringing more just makes it harder on yourself. Between runs you spend the dust you earned on a research tree that unlocks permanent upgrades. Marines that actually survive missions can be redeployed later at higher strength, or you can break them down to extract one of their stats and pass them on to future recruits. The game's performance tends to tank hard in the later parts of missions, especially when the screen fills up with enemies and effects. The base building also feels a bit too basic right now. You're mostly just spamming the same turrets and mortars without much strategic depth, and because the game likely uses some asset packs for its graphics, it looks like a lot of other indie games out there, which doesn't help it stand out visually. The developer knows the squad system doesn't work and is looking at changing it, which is good because the core shooting and upgrading loop is actually fun. The guns are punchy, the upgrades matter, and there is enough variety in weapons and abilities to keep runs feeling different. The game's gonna be in early access with 3 maps and 7 bosses. The plan is to stay there for about a year. And this sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.